Hi everybody, it's Audrey. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome to my channel. I am so excited to share this page with you today. So once a month, on the 20th of every month, we get together, a group of YouTubers, and we do a stash bash where we go through our stash and use a certain item. And this month we are using washi tape. So I pulled out a whole bunch of washi tape from my stash, and I'm working with a certain color palette, and I'm doing kind of a page about my son today, so I wanted to use some kind of boyish colors. And I kind of pulled my inspiration for these colors from a couple of the Cocoa Vanilla boy collections, the You Rock collection, and was the other one called Totally Rad or something like that. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to do. I arranged the colors in an order that I liked, and I am just taking a piece of scrap cardstock, and I am going to lay out a whole bunch of pieces of washi tape. So my plan is to cut these pieces of cardstock with the washi tape on them into a chevron pattern. And I'm just going to speed this part up here because all it is really is me just layering pieces of washi tape one after another. I am leaving a space in between each strip of washi tape because that's kind of the look I wanted. And you notice I am not going all the way over to the left, and that's because I'm going to cut my washi tape in a certain direction. So for cutting this, I am using a quilting ruler. Now, you do not have to go out and buy a quilting ruler to do this. I'm only using the quilting ruler because it has angles marked on it, and it has a 30, 45, and 60 degree angle. So I measured a 45-degree angle, and that pretty much goes corner to corner, and then I am using the ruler to make 1.5-inch strips. And I'm just using a pencil to mark those, and then I am cutting with my scissors. You could use your trimmer, and like I said, you don't have to use a quilting ruler. You could use anything to make a 45-degree angle, and then just measure 1.5 inch, or however wide you want to make these strips. I decided on 1.5 inches. Now you notice all of these stripes go the same direction. So to make a chevron pattern, by the way, that's my leftover piece, which I love too. I might use that on another page. To make the chevron pattern, you have to do the same thing over again and then cut in the other direction. Now there may have been more simple ways to do this, but this is actually a technique that they use in quilting when you're to make a strip quilt and to make a chevron pattern. So I did the same thing here, and I kind of alternated or switched up the order of my washi tapes because I didn't want when I put my pieces together, I didn't want like the same color on each side. I didn't want them to line up, so I switched the order of my washi tapes. And I'm going to cut the angle the other way. So this gives you kind of the other side of the chevron. So like I said, you don't have to buy any special ruler. You could do this just with small pieces of washi tape. You could cut your strips first and then put them at a 45-degree angle. Ooh, look at that, isn't that cool? I want to use that again. So there are lots of other ways you could do this, but this is just the way that I thought would be fastest. I did try to match it up here by the pattern. That looks kind of cool, but I wanted it more random. So I'm just going to play around with these a little bit and kind of line them up. I just do it on my desk first, and then I'll go back and add it onto my cardstock. So this is a great way to use up a lot of washi tape, and I don't really use any other pattern paper on this layout or anything. So I got my piece of white cardstock background. I was kind of debating whether to go with white or gray, and I decided to go with white because I really wanted the colors to stand out in this design. Now you can see, if you look at the three pieces, the three kind of rows I have, the one I'm holding right now and the other two that go in the same direction, I didn't want all of the colors, like if you looked at it across the page kind of like going up, I don't know if that makes any sense. I didn't want all the colors to be kind of in the same diagonal, so I cut off some of the ends to kind of switch up what's on the end of each color, or on the end of each strip rather. So I kind of like that design. By the way, this design is loosely based off of a sketch I saw on Pinterest, and I honestly cannot remember where the sketch is from, but it had kind of like a chevron pattern in the background, and it had one photo in it. It's on my Pinterest board. If you follow me on Pinterest, you'll be able to see it. It's in my sketches board. So it's kind of loosely based on that. But I knew I wanted to do kind of a fun background with washi tape anyway and do the like a chevron pattern. So I'm going to glue these strips down, and I am going to go back over and stitch over them. I just cut off the ends just to make them easier to glue down because I didn't want to add too much glue on the ends and have it stick off the end of the paper. And you could do this with, I mean, all kinds of colors. You could do it with, you know, you could kind of make like, I saw a different washi tape project where somebody had just layered strips of washi tape and kind of like, you know, going from darker to lighter, or any kind of arrangement. So I am going to do some mixed media over the washi tape because I wanted to add some color behind my photos to kind of soften the edges of these bright colors against my photos and to make my photos stand off a little bit. So I just added some gesso there. I did not know how this was going to work because you know, the washi tape has that kind of surface, that slippery surface, and I didn't know if the mists and the other media I'm using were going to stick very well to the washi tape. So I used a Mr. Huey's in clay, and then this is a very old October afternoon mist, and it's called Tin Can or something like that, something tin. And it has a lot of pigment in it. It is not like a watercolor. It's more, I don't know, it's more like a watery paint. It doesn't, it has a lot of pigment in it. And I thought at first that might be too dark when I added the gray on there, but I dabbed it off a little bit, and when it dries, it gets much lighter. But I like that added a kind of a spot for me to place my photos. And I added a little bit more color here with the teal. And you can see, well, we can't see this yet, but it does definitely dry differently on the washi tape than it does over the part where I add my mixed media, or the gesso. So I pulled out some paper from my stash. I have a pile of these papers that I won a long time ago. They're from Basil, and there's like a newsprint one, and like a graph paper one, and a script one, and a music notes piece of paper. They're very, very thin papers. So I thought it was time to use them because I've had them in my stash forever. And I liked using this because it provided kind of like a gray color for the background, and I definitely wanted my photos to be matted on a gray against all those bright colors. So I thought about framing my photo, and I went through a couple collections I knew had chipboard frames with them, and I'm just playing around with them. And luckily my photos were printed the right size. They were printed 2 by 2, which they fit in most of these frames. Some of them are slightly different. Okay, so I'm going to start arranging these on my background here. And I really play around a lot with the design and playing with different frames. And my problem was I didn't want to, I felt like I was taking up too much of the background. I mean, I know you can see a lot of the washi tape here, but I really wanted, you know, the background to stand out too. And I felt like as I kept adding the photos and the frames and more embellishments that it was just taking away from all that nice background. So I play around a lot with the design here. To add a little bit more kind of softer edge, I am adding some of these ThermoWeb lightweight mixed media sheets, and I'm just tearing them and kind of adding a couple layers underneath the photo. So then I decided to start playing around with the arrangement of the photos. I thought maybe instead of doing the linear design kind of across the page, that I would try to kind of group them in this, I guess you would say a triangle arrangement. I liked that a little bit better, but then once I start adding in some of the embellishments I picked out, I just didn't feel like it fit. So I'll come back to that. Again, I just keep playing around with my frames and stuff. I play around with this page for a very long time. That's why this process video is so long, and I'm going to speed up some of this pretty quickly. So I spent some time looking through my stash. I thought I had a big, like a thicker pack that had a word laugh in it, and I was specifically looking for the word laugh. And I found on a piece of Chamel paper from her collection called Little by Little. It has a whole bunch of words on it, and one of the words was laugh, and it was navy blue, and it was just perfect for my title. which is going to be "You Make Me Laugh, Dude." So we call our son Dude all the time. I'm really not sure how it started, but I mean, I pretty much call him Dude like all day. Unless he's in trouble and I have to call him by his first name or his full name with his middle name included when he's in trouble, but which is quite often. No, he's a good kid. But so anyway, this page about him, we were just sitting around and he had this little toy and we were, it was just, I just started joking about the toy and like pretending it was a little dog and pretending it was talking and stuff. And he started laughing hysterically. And he especially laughs hysterically because he's a boy when you start talking about things like poop or farts or whatever. And somehow that came up when we were talking and he was just rolling laughing. And it was just so silly. But it's the silly things that, just make him laugh. And he gets these like deep belly laughs and just starts rolling and his face turns red. So anyway, he was sitting on my lap and we had one of those hysterical funny moments over something stupid, and I loved it because that's just who he is. So this picture of him is like him when he's laughing uncontrollably. So, and then when he gets laughing like that, it totally makes me laugh. So that's what this page is about. So I pulled out a couple boy collections. This is the Crepe Paper Cool Kid boy line. I wanted to bring in some of the black elements, and I like the little kind of pluses from there. I believe I pulled out some of those little pluses too from one of the Cocoa Vanilla boy lines. And I picked out a couple die cuts. I really liked the tag that has the big letter B with the word boy on it because it was kind of like a minty green, and I had some kind of minty green washi tape in the background too, so I liked that pulled out that color. It wasn't one of the colors I was initially thinking of incorporating, but you also see that I took out one of my other photos and instead replaced it with a cluster of embellishments just because I felt the other photo of him I didn't really love too much, and I felt that the two photos kind of captured what I was going for anyway. So and that once I took out that third photo, I really felt like I could embellish better. So I just play around with these die cuts and embellishments for quite a while. Because I had I'm speeding this up really fast because, like I said, I spend a long time just pushing this stuff around. Because I had black in the title, it said make me, the word make and the word dude, I wanted to add some more black elements around the photo, and I'm adding in these little black pluses too. So I am going through all these different packs looking for black elements. I liked the rubber charm that said awesome, the black one, but it just was took up too much space and was kind of too stark against the rest of the page. So, and again, I didn't want to take away too much from my photos. I felt like I needed something a little bit black underneath the photos. These little black puffy shapes are from the Cool Kid collection from the sticker sheet, and I think they're supposed to be crowns or something, but I turned them upside down to make like a little border, and I wasn't in love with those, but I liked having a black element there, and I actually end up taking them off and switching them up. So I find this star banner that was from the Crepe Paper chipboard piece. My only issue with that chipboard thing is that it is not cut exactly where the colors are. And that happens with those Crepe Paper chipboard, those 12 by 12 chipboard things all the time. I don't know if you ever experienced those, but I've gotten a lot of those where the actual cut like cuts into the design. And I don't know, that bothers me a lot with some of the Crepe Paper stuff, but I still love it and I still use it. So I am happy with this arrangement. And like you saw, I spent a long time. Notice I have like circle elements on each end of my photo clusters and some arrows. I tried to balance the colors, especially on the left-hand side. On that cluster, you can see I have a navy blue element, the mint, the gray, kind of the reddish color, the yellow, and I try to do the same thing on the left-hand side of the photos too. And my black elements kind of make a visual triangle. I have something over to the left, and I have the tag sticking off from the top right photo, and then, of course, the title on the bottom. I pulled out a couple other little black sticker sheets, one from Bella Boulevard for the word you, and the basic gray one for the word me, and just to finish my title there, and a little rubber charm on the bottom. I wanted to bring a little bit of color down on the bottom. I thought about bringing in some other like small arrows or other little, sequins or something to bring some color down by the title, but I thought I just should leave it like it is and let the color of the washi tape kind of stand out. So I'm going to start gluing everything down here finally, and I glued my photos to the chipboard frames. I take this little cluster off because I am going to stitch over. Look at how fast that was. I'm going to stitch over some of the areas here. I decided to go with the navy thread because I felt like if I added black thread that it would kind of throw off the balance of the black that I had arranged on the page. So I'm going with a navy thread here. And I just stitched over a couple of the edges. These the little stickers, the little plus stickers were not sticking at all, especially on the washi tape. So I did have to go back and use my mixed media liquid adhesive there to stick some things down. I'm going to speed this part up because it's just me gluing the things back in like I had it. I do add some foam to this center photo here just to kind of pop it up. And it wasn't sticking very well, so I stapled it, and I love the look of staples, especially on a boy page. I don't know what it is about staples with boy pages, but maybe, I don't know. I just like staples on pages with a boy theme. Gonna layer all of my other elements. This heart, I just colored in a little bit more because it was a little too gray, and so I wanted it to be a little bit more black and stand out. And glue all those down. I'm adding some pop dots to that banner piece too. And I did add 2 puffy star stickers to the end of the banner just to kind of define it a little bit more. And I added some black twine to my tag. And last little bit here, I'm going to go through and add in some sequins. These sequins actually, were from a Cocoa Vanilla collection. I think it's called You're Made of Awesome, or You Are Awesome, or Made of Awesome something. And they're kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a steel color. They're not black, but they're not silver either. They're a really pretty dark gray. And that's about it. So I absolutely love this page. I love how the washi tape came out. I love the clustering of the embellishments. One of my favorite pages in a long time. And I love doing boy pages because I don't think boy pages get enough exposure. You always see lots of florally pretty girl pages, but I just love doing boy pages too. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please check out all the other videos below, all the other people who have worked with washi tape today, and I hope it inspires you to break out your washi tape stash. So thanks so much for watching, and stay scrappy, friends. I'll see you soon.